What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the new series, and welcome to episode 2 of the new series. Today, we're going to go through a little bit of a sit-down talk. Now, we're going to vary up these videos as we go through. We don't want to become monotonous. We want to be able to give you education points. A lot of you guys here you can't train like I can, and I can appreciate that. So I'm not going to sit here and rub it in your face. Instead, I'm going to change that, and I'm going to educate you the much that I can. So when you do go back into the gym, all you guys and girls are prepped and primed, so we can talk about execution, training, all these different things later down the line. But for today's video, I want to talk about summarizing my off season, going through the things that I perhaps did right, perhaps the things that I did wrong. Now, we've been in an off season since September 2019. That was when I had my last prep. So obviously I was on a prep type cycle, which is slightly higher. So immediately from September 2019, I was 88 kilos, and I moved straight to TRT dose, which is, for me, was 125 milligrams of testosterone and anaphate. I just did that a couple times over the week, as in half of 125 twice over the week. And I did that for about 12 weeks. And this was just all about recovery. This is all about putting my blood work in a good place to be able to push back up again. So from September 2019 till the beginning of January 2020, so September, October, November, December, so 4 months was at TRT, and I went from 88 kilos to 100 kilos in that 4 months, in that 16 weeks. So just under a kilo a week, with a good 7 or 8 kilos of that happening in the first couple of weeks because we were so lean. I needed to gain some body fat back. So that was the first stage of my off season, was that 88 kilos to 100 kilos over a 4-month period. From there, I was ready to blast. Hunger was really good. My ability to train was good. I just had a deload. My bloods were good. So we went on to my first real blast while using anabolic steroids. So we used testosterone, NPP, and a little bit of Primo as well. I'm not going to go into specific doses because this is not I say you do. This is all purely education and purely my experiences. We can talk about those things a little bit more on the podcast. In hindsight, this was a really, really good, it was a good stack for me, but there was things that went wrong with it. For me, NPP or a DECA derivative, it did bring a lot of water retention for me. And for me personally, that's not necessarily a good thing because my blood pressure has a tendency to kind of shoot up a bit when I can't get rid of my water efficiently. We know that the kidneys, water, and your excretion of water all have a tie into your blood pressure. So me using a wetter compound, or a compound that encourages more fluid to be held in the muscle, didn't necessarily work that well for me. My blood pressure went up. But from there, we went from 100 kilos in January to 117 kilos in April, end of April. So we did 4 months again. And so that was 17 kilos in 16 weeks. So it was over a kilo a week. Yes, body fat gained, but a lot of muscle too. I was at my strongest, and that was during lockdown. Right here, actually, literally in this room, we did that, and you guys remember that series when we were at home. From here, I immediately needed to go back onto TRT again. Something that we wanted to consider is that we wanted to maintain a lot of our muscle that we had just built, so we didn't just shoot straight down to TRT. We actually did a modified cruise, which had a little bit of Primo in it to maintain my muscle that I'd gained. And I actually ran that for, I'll just try and work it out now. I ran that from end of April, we finished, May until August. So May, June, July, August. So another 4 months I spent on a modified cruise. From there, I got my blood work back, and actually, because of the way we'd arranged the stack design, I was healthier than, I say healthier, I had better blood work than I did when I was first natural, because we'd put in a lot of health supplements, a lot of health thoughts went into our process. I was sleeping well, I was making sure I did my cardio, I wasn't getting too fat, I was actually cutting as well. So we did that from January to April. End of April was a big bulk, from 100 kilos to 117. We then went from the end of April, so the beginning of May, we did another probably about 12-week cut for 3 months, and I took off 12 kilos. So 12 weeks, 12 kilos, took off a kilo a week, and I was running TRT, true TRT for that phase. So let's just repeat that again. From January to April was blasting. From April, end of April, May, beginning of May, till August was a modified cruise, which was a step down from my blast, but a step up from TRT. From August, we went down again to TRT, and we remained at TRT for another 4 weeks in a maintenance phase. And then we had some more blood work done. We improved upon that again, while I remained the same weight at 105. So I stayed at 105 from the middle of August to the middle of September. And then from the middle of September, I then engaged on my second latest blast, which again, we changed the compounds that we used. We actually used Test Primo, I used Proviron, and I had a very, very, very low dose of Tren in there, 100 milligrams to be specific, so nothing crazy. And that was just because there's a lot of good research into some low dose Tren, and we're not going to go into that right here. I actually found that this was not the best that I had felt. So from September until December, so another 4 months blast, I didn't feel the best, and I was trying to work out why it was, and it got to the end of the cycle, I ran out of my Proviron, so I actually just stopped using that Proviron towards the end of my cycle, and I started feeling better again. And I think that was because the Proviron was having a little bit of an implication on my estrogen, and I think my estrogen was a little bit low, and I feel great when my estrogen's high. So that was something to note and something to take from that cycle. That was another 16 weeks. We went from 105 kilos and we pushed up to 116 kilos, or maybe just under 115 and a half, come the end of November. And then December and January, I've done another one of these modified cruises where we don't come all the way down to TRT, we stay maybe just above. For example, natural limits at the moment are registered around 9 to 30 nanomole per liter of testosterone. I was looking to stay around 35, maybe 40. Just as an example. And actually we know that over the last 100 years or so, natural testosterone levels have been declining, and maybe 100 years ago you might have been 35, 40 naturally. So I don't think there's too much issue with staying about that. But all the people that are doing 250 cruises, you're not doing a cruise, you're going to be way above the natural level. So we ran that for January and February. December and January. We're now here in February, where we've had our blood work back and everything is given us the all clear to push back up into a prep cycle where we'll be utilizing things like Mastron, things like Primobolan. We'll be using lipolytics like Yohimbine and Clenbuterol. There'll be plenty of things that we'll bring in that I'm not going to talk about again. I'm not going to talk about explicitly on this channel because I want to remain this education. You don't need to know the numbers of things, but you can understand how these things work and how we're layering them on in a health conscious way as such. And we finished the season we finished the bulk, I should say, probably I would say December. And from December and January, I've just tried to maintain the weight that I'm at. I've had 2 holidays, or I had 2 weeks away and nearly 2 weeks off when I was in the Maldives. And then I've kind of not been 100% trying to get as much food in as physically possible, which was a lot of the end of the last bulk. But we've still managed to grow really nicely to about 116. So I've only put on 0.5 kilo a month since this last modified cruise phase, since December in 2020. So here we are, February 2021, and I'm really, really happy with my final physique. I'm extremely happy with the fullness. I'm extremely happy with how lean I am at 116 kilos, and I'm excited to kind of reverse this down and pull off some calories and get really lean. I think that the overall mass will definitely show on stage. I wanted to make a big impact this year when I do come onto stage. I wanted to make sure that there is a significant improvement, specifically across this upper band, my arms, my delts, my chest, and of course the V-taper. So I think we've got something great that we're going to bring this year. I'm extremely excited to bring it to you guys. I hope you're excited to watch this unfold. That's my off season in a nutshell. It took about 2 years, stage to stage. When I compete again in June, it will literally be 2 years to the day almost that I competed. So you want to make big improvements in your physique, take that time away from competing and reap the rewards. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed the visual comparisons that we put up there as we go. A lot has changed. I'm bigger, I'm maturer. I've got a better head about me. I'm going to set myself up for success for this prep, and I'm ready to get into it. So episode 2, done and dusty, guys. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace, everybody. Bye-bye.